All right, guys, welcome back to VGL. My name is Wes, and today we're going to talk about The Last of Us. So as you guys know, The Last of Us is at an all-time high in popularity thanks to the HBO series. The live-action adaptation managed to accurately and respectfully bring the game world to life while expanding upon the universe in meaningful ways and making some very interesting changes to some of the characters, specifically Joel. Now, with a second season of the show likely entering production soon, and with tons of leaks suggesting that Naughty Dog has recently started work on a third mainline Last of Us game, there has been a ton of speculation as to what that new game is going to be about and whether or not the second season of the show is going to follow in the second game's footsteps. Now, personally, I'm hoping that The Last of Us Season 2 stays away from the Part 2 story as possible, but hey, maybe that's just me. It also seems like I'm out of luck there because it was recently confirmed that Part 2 story will indeed be incorporated into future seasons of the show, although it's unclear to what degree or if the HBO writers are going to change things. But interestingly enough, Naughty Dog's own Neil Druckmann recently let it slip that not only are they going to officially plan a third Last of Us game, but they may actually be taking influence from the HBO show. In this video, we're going to be going over everything that was recently said about the third Last of Us game. So let me know in the comments what you think about this news, drop a like, and let's get started. So in case you missed it, Naughty Dog has been going back and forth on the prospects of a third Last of Us game, but it seems pretty clear that they've got something in the works. Initially, Naughty Dog was pretty gung-ho about a third game, but then a few months ago, Neil Druckmann said that they would only make a third game if they had a great story to tell, implying that they weren't actually officially working on anything at the time. However, just days after he made that statement, a ton of leaks came out from a trusted source claiming that Naughty Dog was indeed working on a third Last of Us game, and it was going to come out at the end of the PS5's life cycle and possibly even be a cross-gen title with the PS6. Now, since those leaks came out, Neil Druckmann has been a bit more open in public statements regarding a third Last of Us game, and just the other day, he may have been a little bit too open about how the team is going to be planning this one. At a recent virtual event, Druckmann was asked once again about the prospect of a third Last of Us game and whether or not the HBO show has impacted the future of the game franchise. Most people were expecting Druckmann to dodge the question, but instead he gave a pretty direct answer. He stated, "If we were to revisit them in the game form, which remains to be seen, there are definitely elements that I'm going to want to take from the series that would apply to the games." Now, that may sound like him basically dodging the question, but when you look at the actual specifics of what he said, it becomes pretty clear that Naughty Dog is indeed working on the game. I mean, think about it. Why would Neil Druckmann be so definitive about using elements from the show in a new game if they weren't planning something? That doesn't make much sense at all, does it? He said, and I quote, "It remains to be seen if they revisit the Last of Us universe in a future video game," but then he says there are definitely elements that he's going to take from the series. Those are two very conflicting attitudes towards a third game, and frankly, this contradiction wouldn't exist if there were no current plans for another game. If you ask me, Druckmann let the cat out of the bag here. This just isn't a kind of statement you make about a project that doesn't exist, you know? With Druckmann seemingly flip-flopping every few weeks on the prospect of a third Last of Us game, I think at the very least there are plans in motion to get something off the ground. Like I said before, there are some very trusted insiders that stated earlier this year that a third game was in early production, and Neil Druckmann himself said a couple of years ago that they had story ideas for a third game. We know that Naughty Dog is working on a multiplayer game set in the Last of Us universe that will likely get a better look at what this game is like later in the year, and we also know that Naughty Dog is working on a brand new IP that may or may not be revealed in the near future. But when it comes to their main moneymaker, there's no way they abandon it. Heck, Sony isn't even going to allow it. The first Last of Us game is seen by many as one of the best single-player games ever made, and the second game, while being extremely divisive among gamers, sold tremendously well and was a massive technical achievement. There are tons of directions that a third Last of Us game could go, and even though the second game didn't sit well with me, I'm excited to see if Naughty Dog can get things back on track and kind of redeem themselves with a banger trilogy ender. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section about the possibility of a third Last of Us game. Make sure you subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on any future content, and I will talk to you guys in the next video.